This conference will now be recorded.
And then just a couple housekeeping items before we really get started here. Just try to keep yourself on mute unless you're needing to talk. I do have the capability of muting everyone, but then we've in the past had people struggle to be able to talk when they need to talk. So I'd like to not just mute everyone in mass, and hopefully everyone can just stay on mute so there's no background noise. With that, Sheriff Rotter, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Blake. Welcome everybody to the October 8th edition of the Iowa 911 Communications Council. If we could please start, Kara, could you please give us a roll call?
Yes, I can. Thank you. Tracy Bearden.
I'm here.
Lawrence Hartpence. And Chair Rotter is here. George Griffith.
Here.
Mike Bryant.
Here.
Mark Murphy.
Here.
Jeff Anderson.
Here.
Robert Johannesson. Rob Dennert.
Here.
Jack D'Angelo was going to be excused. Taylor Teeple. I'll go back. Lawrence Hartpence. Or Robbie Johannesson.
It's Chad Roberts standing in for Robbie Johannesson.
Okay, all right. We do have a quorum, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Kara. We can move on then. Could I please get a motion to approve today's agenda?
So moved. Murphy.
Okay, I'm sorry. Who made the motion?
Mark did. Dennert can second then.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. And likewise, could I please have a motion to approve the September 10th, 2020 minutes?
Anderson moves.
Griffith was second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, signal by aye.
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 Opposed? And motion carries. Blake, could give us an update, please.
All right, thanks everyone. I kind of just jump right into where we what we talked about last month with the wireline migration project. If you remember from last month, we hit the pause button while we ensured that we had more records provisioned in the statewide ALI database. So from the last meeting, we had 15 PSAPs migrated. We have actually completed 9 even through that pause, and we did that by targeting local ALI database PSAPs, the 3 DPS PSAPs, and then we actually did restart those migrations just this week. So an additional 3 PSAPs were turned up for a total of 24 migrated thus far. We had a meeting with Iowa Communication Alliance and telcos last month as well. Over 100 participants engaged in that meeting, and it was really good discussion. I think it kind of reset things and reestablished communication as well as kind of expectations on making sure we have ALI records accurately provisioned in the new statewide database. So since that time, we've seen over 100,000 records be added, and that's why we are restarting those migrations. So we really took about a 3-week pause, but even through then, like I said, we kind of targeted some low-risk PSAPs and continued that project. One of the other things that we're working through, and I think I talked about it last month, is when there is a no record found in the wireline ALI database for whatever reason, if a telco hasn't provisioned the data, rather than those calls default routing to one location, which is currently set as state radio here in Johnston, we're convening conference calls with the larger PSAPs within every selective router region. And that's an effort so that not all of those no record found calls drop to DPS. Instead, they stay a little bit more regionally focused. So we're having calls with some of those bigger PSAPs, and at this point, we've already actually turned this on for the Davenport selective router. So Scott County Emergency Communication Center is taking those as the default regional backup. So they get no record founds. And actually what we found is the vast majority of them are actually their calls to begin with. So it's going well there. They're reporting about 5 or 10 calls a day that they get as no record found, but it's a big difference for DPS. So again, those conversations are ongoing. I'll pause there and see if there's any questions on the wireline migration so far. Okay, moving on to the shared services. I've been talking about this for a couple months now, and unfortunately we experienced another delay. This is to ensure additional connectivity between the Zetron host and remotes for those PSAPs that have entered into the shared services program, turning up a second connection, which is FirstNet in between the host and remote. Again, just another delay, so that is now targeted as the end of October for the first turn up, and then retrofitting those PSAPs who have already been turned up. Also, just as a note, some of those turn-ups on the shared services program are kind of interconnected with the wireline migration as well, and it's an unfortunate chicken and egg conversation. A lot of times those center around local ALI databases and needing to get onto the statewide ALI database before the shared service migration or project can continue for a specific PSAP. So that's some of what's going on in the shared services, and we'll have a broader Zetron update as well later on in the presentation. And finally, just a reminder of the forms that are due. Ali from our office sent an email about a month ago. We still need a lot of the PSAP updates. That's what drives our distro lists. So it's important that you get those updated. If you have any questions on that or what was submitted in previous years, happy to send that to you. Just let us know that you are needing some assistance. Also, the PSAP expenditure collection form. Again, the administrative deadline for that form into our office is January 1st, and that tracks really what it costs to run and operate a PSAP. Also, again, that one is tied back to surcharge. So if you are delinquent in getting that form to us, we have to withhold some of the quarterly surcharge. And then finally, the service board membership form, just to keep our records up to date. That's actually part of your service plan, is to submit that to us on an annual basis so we can monitor and make sure you have the right folks voting on your service board. So again, those are all due to us January 1st. The GIS grants, in September, an additional 12 counties met the benchmarks for a total of 31 counties thus far for fiscal year 2021. You can see the totals there. Also, kind of note, at this time last year, only 26 counties had met the benchmark. So we're outpacing last year as we continue to drive those accuracy rates higher. So appreciate everyone's efforts there. And the Travel Public Education and Training Fund, no requests were received this month, so nothing really to talk about or to consider later on in the meeting agenda. And then with that, I will turn it over to Ali Bright from our office for a quick update on our strategic plan.
All right, good morning, everyone. So a while back when I started, Blake and I sat down and we kind of thought it would be best if maybe we worked out a game plan for the next couple of years on what we really want to focus on in our office programmatic wise. We wanted to look future forward. And really the best way to do that was to take this state 911 assessment that was done back in 2019 and look at the guidelines that we did not meet or met minimum criteria at. So we took a look. They had 83 guidelines that they looked at for the state. They awarded them one of the 4 categories that are listed there. And then we really thought, let's look at the ones that we did not meet our minimum criteria and create a strategic plan really high level, more of a guidebook for us to kind of look at what we really want to focus on for the calendar years of 2021 to 2025. So what this plan is, it's a roadmap for us to focus our time, energy, and resources on over the next 5 years. It's going to allow us to create content documents, working groups, which will be a big part of this, surveys, et cetera, to meet these specific benchmarks and goals within these categories. And then it's really just something for us to really, again, focus our time on and attention on, so we are meeting guidelines that are really nationally recognized. So what it is not is a mandate to PSAPs, and it's not an immediate change to code or regulations at all. It really, again, is something for us to take a look at category-wise and say, hey, over the next 5 years, we really need to build up our outreach content, or we really want to look at this one particular issue and get feedback from subject matter experts and people in the PSAPs to get kind of your opinion or recommendation or what you would like to see on our end to really drive this issue forward. What it is not also is a plan to be adopted by individual PSAPs, but although if there's anything within it that PSAPs want to add into their own strategic plan, feel free to do so. So really what we did, again, looked at those does not meet and minimum criteria and created 5 categories to focus on. They're legislative, administrative, systems and security, 911 program, education and outreach, and this is to external and the public, and facilities and operations. Within those 5 categories is where we looked at those guidelines. So we took those guidelines that we really wanted to focus on and explore over the next 5 years and divvied them out. So you can kind of see here, it's a long list. Again, you'll have an opportunity to review this in the near future, but we really looked at what we could accomplish over the next 5 years. And a lot of this could just be over 5 years, we have conversations. So we'll get these work groups together, get everyone's kind of feedback on things, maybe do some benchmarks and some guidelines. And we could just have a conversation on this standard or that standard over the next 5 years. But some of the other stuff we're hoping to accomplish and actually get you deliverables within the 5 years as well. So what's next on this? So we are working on the draft right now. It's pretty much done. We just need to do another little bit of proofreading on it. And once that is finalized, we will post it to the website, and there'll be a comment period through December 1st. We hope to publish the final plan by January 2020. And then after that, we are going to form working groups. So again, these working groups are going to be under those 5 categories. It may just be for the outreach content, we have one group, because really we don't need a subgroup for each of those categories. We may need to bring in subject matter experts, but everyone can kind of give feedback on what they would like a brochure to look like and things like that. For some of the subgroups, we may want to have individual working groups of people who are subject matter experts or really can provide some guidance or some insight onto those things with us. So we will set up these groups. If you're interested in participating, let us know. When we publish the plan is when we're going to be looking to form those groups as well. So once we get these groups together, they'll meet on a regular basis, probably virtually for the time being, and they'll work on goals and benchmarks. And really, those goals and benchmarks are going to be created by these groups. So when you see the plan, you'll see that it's very broad. So it just says, hey, we recognize that this is an issue we want to look at in the next 5 years. We hope to get a group together to do X, Y, and Z. But these groups are really going to be what's driving what happens over these next 5 years. And then within these groups, after we identify the goals and benchmarks, we're going to work on deliverables and identify the timelines to do these things. So that's kind of the plan for us. Again, it's really just a way for us to focus our energy over the next 5 years and really come up with a solid plan on what we can do to kind of provide assistance and move the program forward. So I guess at this time, anyone have any questions?
Allie, I just want to make a comment. This is Tracy Bearden. I just want to let the council know and the individuals who were wanting to participate in those work groups prior to the strategic plan being drafted. In the perfect world, that's the way it would have been. The state made the decision to move forward because with COVID, we weren't making that movement forward with those groups because I was waiting to see whether or not we could get a more representative and people to participate, because I knew everybody was busy. That didn't happen soon enough, so the state moved forward. But I want people to recognize that we do have a comment period, which they provided us for that 45 days. They are going to allow people to comment, and then within these strategic groups, with these work groups. So it's very, very important. I urge you to get involved. Let your voice be heard. Give ideas, because that's how you develop that roadmap, that path for your PSAP to be successful and to have a plan that you can embrace and be successful in your jurisdiction, and that can make the state of Iowa better in the 911 realm and to meet these benchmarks. And I acknowledge that there's going to be areas that not everybody is going to, they're going to have a little heartburn with, but that's why they're developing these work groups. So to give you a voice, to provide that feedback, what's going to make it easier. There's certain things that are going to need to be met eventually, but they need your feedback, they need your support and ideas and ways to develop this plan and put the meat and potatoes and the meat on the bones of the plan to make a successful implementation for the entire state. So while we didn't get to do those root groups beforehand, and that's in the perfect world, that's the way I really was hoping to have it, and I want it because I think the voice is important. It didn't work out that way, but you still have that voice, you still have that opportunity. So I really plead with you to participate, discuss, get as many people as you can to discuss this plan, to make it part of your own, so your jurisdiction can embrace it and implement it and be successful and improve the entire state of Iowa in the realm of 911. That's it.
Any other questions or comments on the strategic plan? I know there had been some background stuff going on, so I just want to give everyone an opportunity to either ask questions or comment. All right, so not hearing anything again, just to kind of put a bow on that, we'll get it published to our website within the next week or two. We'll call that a final draft, and then a comment period through December 1st. That gives us a month to review those comments and make the final changes. And then really the work starts for everyone starting in January, working towards those goals and work plans and work groups. So thank you for everyone's comments and thoughts over the last couple of weeks as we've had that discussion. So appreciate that, and looking forward to getting it out and posted on the website for broader comment and viewing. With that, I will turn it over to Lynn Warren with Zetron.
Thank you. So just a little more update on the Iowa Shared Services. I realize I got the wrong date on the cover slide, but let's move on to the next slide. I think these are last month's slides, Blake.
They are, sorry, just a second. Sorry, I'm going to get the other one.
You know, I can just pull mine up and then talk about them if you prefer.
Yeah, why don't you start, and I'll keep working on getting those slides up. My apologies.
No worries. Just give me. All right. Okay. So Iowa County max call taking went live last week on September 30th. Shelby County max call taking is scheduled to go live November 4th. As Blake said earlier, quite a few things have moved forward with the migration program with CompTAC that is allowing us, thank you, is allowing us to move forward with several PSAPs that we've had on the books for a while, but they've been delayed because of the migration. But Shelby is now moving ahead. They will go live on November 4th with Max Max call taking, and then we do kind of a staged deployment, so there's not too many changes for the call takers at one time. So after call taking goes live, then we will deploy CAD, mobile CAD, and their EMD. Descom, we finished up some NCIC testing, and so we'll be moving forward with their CAD and EMD deployments in October. Humboldt, we got the go-ahead with them, their migration to Comtech coming up, and so we'll be able to go live with them on November 18th. And Marion also has their migration coming up, so we'll be able to go live with them on Max Call Taking on December 9th. As Blake already said, the 3 DPS all migrated to Comtech Statewide Alley and their wireline services, and Jones is scheduled to migrate next week. And we started a monthly newsletter called the Iowa Insider, and we published our 3rd newsletter last week. And I think those are all the highlights. And here's just to give you a visual of the areas that have gone live on the Iowa Shared Services. Like, did we get Iowa County added to this? Not quite yet. So for next month, we'll make sure that we get the Iowa County greened, and as well as Shelby when we go live in November. And I think that's those are all the updates for this program.
All right, thanks, Lynn. Again, sorry about the slide snafu. I had 2 October presentations going and I added it to the wrong one, so I apologize.
No worries.
That does end our portion of the briefing. If there's any questions, I would be happy to take them now. And not hearing any, I'll turn it back over to you, Chair.
Okay, excuse me. Thank you, Blake. As you mentioned, we don't have any training fund requests, so we'll move on to our reports. Do we have any technical advisories? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to an ISICS report. Chris Myers, are you on?
Yes, I am, Mr. Chair. Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
I can, thanks.
All right, so just a quick housekeeping item. Following last month's report poster ratio, we're still supporting 2 communities in Iowa with SDR trailer deployments. We're kind of viewing those as until further notice deployments. So we may have 2 of our SDR trailers tied up for the immediate foreseeable future. Update on some of the TA requests that were delivered last month from ICTAP. These are those courses that they do deliver to us. Standard operating procedures and communications plan review and development was held as a 2-part webinar as scheduled on September 15th and 16th. We had 17 total attendees for that one. We also had an encryption planning and usage for technical staff webinar that was held virtually on September 30th. We had 25 attendees there, not counting the instructors. So we've had some good attendance the past couple of sessions with some virtual training deliveries. We continue to learn a lot with every single one of these deliveries on how better to deploy those types of offerings. So if anybody here in the meeting was at one of those training sessions and they have some feedback, please let us know. We are actively accepting any and all feedback, constructive and critical, and we'd love to hear it so we can enhance our program a little bit further. We continue to offer training to PSAPs. We just held our ISICS regional training and FirstNet outreach session for RIC 1 in Boone County. That was September 29th at the Boone Erickson Public Library. We're in early discussions of doing another round of regional training for PSAPs. That next round of training is going to focus really heavily on updates to ISICS standards and policies, and also status board and anything else that we may need to cover. We will be running some sample agendas through our RICs, so if you want to jump in on those RICs and see the agendas and offer some feedback as well, we would encourage and invite you to do so. We're also still offering one-on-one training for PSAPs and local personnel in the use of ISICs, the talk groups and status board. We can do this in person and virtually. And if you want to schedule a session with us, please let us know. There's no cost for this, and we will also work around your schedule as best we can. Housekeeping item, ISICs applications that were approved last month include Blakesburg Fire and Rescue for level 2 access, O'Brien County EMA for level 1, Pottawatomie County for level 2. ISICs applications that are up for approval today include Howard County EMA for level 1, Mower County, Minnesota, level 1. That's part of our interstate interoperability projects, and then Lee Com for a level 4 update. We also have a new standard up for approval today regarding audible alert tones on the interop talk groups. That's something that we've been working on for quite some time. Again, that alert tone standard would only apply to things like the regional calling talk groups. And then, of course, status board updates. We're still accepting new users on that. We're in excess of 500 users now at the local, municipal, county, state, and federal level. This is open to PSAP administrators, dispatchers, key administrative personnel, and emergency managers. It's open to them all. So if you don't have access yet, please let me know and we will get you set up. The process typically takes about a half hour. So that's my report, Mr. Chair. I'll go ahead and take any questions.
Okay, Chris, thank you very much. Up next, we would have Jim Lundstedt, but I understand that he has gone to work on hurricane prep right now, so we won't be hearing from him. So we'll move on to the Chapter 34A Administrative Code work group. Tracy Bearden, can you give us an update if you have one?
Yeah, so last council meeting, I indicated that we are going to work on the groups to help draft the strategic plan. We've seen that there's a change in that. So now, as soon as that comment period ends and they finalize the strategic plan, then those work groups will be developed and drive the meat and potatoes of the strategic plan. So there's going to be another little delay, but you can already start working once that plan is published to make sure that you have things that you want to discuss and provide guidance, and you'll know which kind of work groups you want to be. Allie put it out very nicely on the different sections that you saw in the strategic plan chart. So those are kind of how those groups are going to be developed. So there's still a participation, so that wants to be stressed. And this plan will encompass that participation, those comments. And so just, I urge you to keep the course and realize that there will be participation, and we will continue on with those groups and incorporate it. So that is my update. Thank you. I also have an update for Iowa NENA, Chair, so I don't know where you want me to provide that update. It's really not new business. So I don't know if you want me to go on business from the floor or announcements.
No, Tracy, you can go ahead with it.
Okay, so the president wanted me to let you know that the officer nominations, if you want to be part of the leadership for Iowa NENA, they're due October 9th, with announcements of the nominations will be October 20th. 911 goes to Des Moines is still right now going to occur on March 9th, 2021, but it's going to be monitored and due to the pandemic and social distancing requirements. So keep updated on that. But right now it's on March 9th, 2021. And the spring conference is March 15th, APCO March 16th at Prairie Meadows. Again, they're going to work through the social distancing requirements with the venue, but they really want to have that conference because they know it's important to have training and for people to interact and engage and network in order to make all of us better at what we do. So if you have any questions, you can email me. I will have Blake push this out to the PSAP, those regional PSAP advisory groups, and get that information to you. So thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. Okay, and when moving on to the Baseline Knowledge Committee, I did hear from Jamie Robinson. He's really being floored right now with a lot of work. He did say that he would hopefully have a report for us in the November meeting, so we'll hear from him then. Moving on to legislative issues. Are there any legislative issues that anyone's aware of? Okay, hearing none. I don't have any unfinished business that I'm aware of. Blake, do you have anything?
Nope, nothing on my radar.
Okay, and I believe likewise for new business and travel requests, I don't believe we have any. Is there any business from the floor? Okay, I'm going to take that as a no. That really takes up our agenda. Unless there's anything further, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Mark.
Anderson.
Okay, I don't think we were able to hear who made that motion.
Mark Murphy.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second,
Anderson.
Tracy Bearden.
Very well, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And we adjourn. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.